Alright, so the First Descendant devs threw a few bombshells at us during the live stream that completely disrupts the roadmap. So I dug through and pulled out everything they revealed so we can break this down properly. Everything we can expect from the coming updates with no fluff, no skipping details, and no sugarcoating. So let's do this.
Wait, did we just become best friends? So nice to meet you. I think you're cool.
So after all the backlash from the Void Erosion Purge, they've changed how they do updates. Instead of cramming content into a rushed weekly system, they're moving into a monthly update model. That means bigger updates spread out better so players don't keep hitting content droughts. Season 3, which was supposed to drop in March, is now getting pushed to summer. Instead, they're calling the March update Season 2, Episode 2. But don't worry, nothing's being cut. They're just shifting the schedule so they can actually deliver a well-rounded update this summer for Season 3. The goal, make the endgame girthy, deliver more volume and content worth playing. So for those of you who feel like there's nothing to do just days after they launch something new, this one is for you. Okay, let's start with what's happening in February. To get you up to speed on the February 13th patch, which was 1.27, this kicked things off with fixes to the Void Erosion Purge. If you've been struggling solo, difficulty is being adjusted. Certain annoying mob monsters are being reduced. Elite monsters will have less HP, and the tracking on projectile and beam attacks is getting fixed. It was way overtuned. They also buffed weapon attacks to improve the speed of completion of the content. But expect this purge to still be challenging and still host bullet sponges, but basically less frustration and a better pacing. They also made public matchmaking available from stages 25 and beyond to make multiplayer run smoother. They did address our likely worry about the next 20 stages, right? That will of course continue to scale in difficulty. Well, in the next major update, they will introduce a new system that will evaluate our defenses and skill growth. It will make it easier to get through the current stages, but let's see. They did state this is a weapon-based mission series. They did recognize this lopsidedness and lack of being able to use skill-based descendants as something the community is discontent with. So their approach to fix this will be first to update the underbalanced descendants, Jaber again, I'm sure. The balance paths will focus first on top tier characters before gradually addressing average successors to create a more level playing field. Then rebalance the purge again with plans to tweak how damage is calculated and make sure difficulty adjustments benefit all players without making the game feel unfair for those that really want to lean in on one of their favorites. And just to squeeze this in here, they did say that Luna is still on their watch list for a rework. But hey guys, this won't be an overnight fix, but to prevent further hiccups like this, they are considering player test releases prior to full releases of new content for player feedback. So like a player test server, sometimes referred to as a PTS. The February patch also dropped a Valentine's Day event with a themed skin along with some hot spring swimsuit skins. But beyond cosmetics, this update is mostly about addressing issues. The devs admitted they've been pushing out content too fast, leading to broken mechanics and unfinished updates. Case in point, the Inez skin texture bug, which got fixed. On the event side, there is an American football final celebration event that lasts a few days, going from February 13th to the 19th. There's also a daily attendance event for free progression rewards and an experimental event with Kate. And from Feb 20 to the 21st, there will be a focus group testing session in Korea, likely to fine-tune upcoming content before it goes live. So the next date is coming on Feb 20, and the patch is 128. I'm excited about this one. Finally, they will be doing some rebalancing and reworking on certain external components, so we can stop all just using Slayer and only Slayer. In addition, they are increasing the drop quantity during Void Intercept fights and adding drops to mobs during infiltrations. This will hopefully make external component farming a little bit better. They are also improving ultimate modules that have a low duration of status effect. It will be enhancing the underused mods and recategorizing certain mods, especially those ultimates, so they can be simultaneously equipped. All good things. I do want to note that the game made a seismic shift on the Steam charts. It went from around number 90 in revenue, jumping 80 plus slots to be within the top 10 in revenue. That's crazy. And you know that's because of those swimsuits. So what we're all looking forward to at this point is March. March is when things really start rolling. Instead of it being Season 3, March 1 kicks off Season 2, Episode 2, which is the first large-scale update under this new system. North America is getting a focus group testing session between March 1st and 2nd. I mentioned earlier that the focus group testing in Korea happened on the 20th of February. Then on March 13th, Season 2, Episode 2 begins, bringing the first big content expansion under the new roadmap. The biggest chunks of new content coming with Episode 2 is that we're going to get a new main story that they've been working on, and we're going to get a field expansion called the Sigma Sector. And the Sigma Sector is going to host unique resources we need to upgrade our Descendant through the expanded tuning system. There's going to be new monsters and bosses, and something about an evil version of Descendants, like a Nemesis version. Of course, we will be getting a new Void Abyss boss, and this one's going to be called the Tormentor. It doesn't look like we're going to get a new standard boss for the Void Intercept battles. So far, it looks like they're just going to be swapping out that Void Abyss boss, and I kind of like having both, to be honest with you. So I do hope they continue to provide new bosses, but I understand that requires a lot of development time, so I guess they're picking their battles. And we will be getting a new fellow, and this time it's going to be a retriever. It's going to be a little bit different than our shepherd that we have now. So the shepherd can collect and dismantle loot. Well, the new one, the retriever, is going to be able to collect but won't be able to dismantle loot, but will also be able to collect or provide ammo for us. Not exactly sure how that's going to work. Will it be retrieving ammo so that we don't have to, or will it actually be generating ammo? We'll see. We will be seeing new external components with the major releases. This update also introduces a new battle pass, 2 new characters, and some major gameplay enhancements. So let's go with the new characters, because we're always looking forward to that, aren't we? One is called Serena, finally confirmed, a legendary fire attribute descendant. She was one of the earliest descendants, or an ancestor, missing for 100 years, and now she's back with aerial combat mechanics and a fire-based attack kit. The rumor is she's going to be fire singular and will be a weapon platform. The other descendant we're going to get is the Ultimate Blair. Not much is revealed here yet. The update isn't just about new characters. The arcade tuning system is being introduced as a new long-term progression mechanic, allowing players to upgrade skills and defenses through a node-based skill tree. Integrated with Sigma Sector, players will gather arcade energy to enhance their characters in 2 major growth paths: skill enhancement for boosting abilities and defense optimization for added durability and resistance. This system is designed to evolve over time and is intended to be the answer to stages 31 through 50 of the Void Erosion Purge, adding to our survivability. The ultimate transfer system will also be introduced. This is highly anticipated and will allow players to transfer upgraded materials between characters to avoid wasted resources. We don't know exactly how it works, but it's going to be tied to a limited time event that will open around the time they introduce a new Ultimate Descendant. So in this case, it's going to be when they release Blair. So expect this probably to hit in April or just before. So that way, whatever you invested in your normal Blair can be transferred into Ultimate Descendant Blair. Will everything transfer? I don't know, but it's going to be considered a very rare resource. Yeah, that means a grind will be tied to it. So equipment customization is getting an overhaul too. Reactors and external parts can now be fine-tuned manually, shifting away from reliance on random stat rolls. Farming this is a pain. One of the worst things to farm in the game. A lot of people agree on that. Now, we don't have any details on how this will work, but sounds good so far. And some external parts will now feature exclusive passive abilities, such as increased projectile speed or resistance to specific enemy attacks. I think that's a good idea. Reactor components can be transplanted between gear, making it easier to maintain progress without grinding entirely new sets for different builds. And yup, a long-awaited photo mode is also being added, letting players capture in-game screenshots and cinematic moments. Now, I gotta pause here for a quick second because they mentioned in earlier conversations that the outposts were being reworked. They didn't mention anything about it in this session, nor was it on any of their stat sheets. So where is this? We need to find out what's going on with the outpost rework. Was it deprioritized? There was a golden nugget in the Q&A session about the kata research time. This always comes up, right? I think we're all sick of waiting 7.5 hours to research one catalyst. A lot of people ask for the ability to craft multiple catalysts, but I think it'd be more useful for the entire community community, including new players, so that they can catch up to endgame with the rest of us by cutting down the crafting time. Because not everybody has a massive stockpile of catalyst blueprints to multi-research. So cutting the time is basically the same deal. Either way, if you're sitting on a stockpile of blueprints, you can get, let's just say, 2 catalysts in 7.5 hours if they cut the time in half, which is what I believe they're going to do, but time will tell. They didn't say when this was going to launch, so I have this as a question mark. Will we see this on the March 13th update? I really hope so. April will be when they release Ultimate Blair and the story. April will also focus on customization improvements. Players will get more control over the character's appearance with expanded dyeing options, including separate coloring for eyebrows, beards, and other small details. And a new 6-stage dyeing system will allow for more precise color application. Customization loadouts are also being introduced, making it easier to switch between different looks and setups instantly. And apparently in April is when we're going to get the additional Void Erosion Purge stages. We can get a party finder system, guide improvements, and we're going to be able to view other descendants or check out people's builds. So May is on the lighter side of things. That kind of worries me, but they intend to release another piece of the arcade tuning system to expand on it. And we will see a new Void Abyss boss called Ice Maiden. And finally, those jiggle physics, expect a spike in game activity around then because of that. Then we hit the big one, Season 3 in summer 2025. Anticipated sometime in June, but we don't know exactly yet. This is where things really change. Instead of a simple content update, Season 3 is meant to be a full-scale overhaul of endgame content. This is the update that's supposed to fix the lack of depth in the late game, something players have been complaining about for a while. This overhaul is expected to bring real long-term content instead of just temporary grinds. It'll also coincide with the First Descendant's first anniversary event and a mystery collaboration event that hasn't been revealed yet. So no word on what the collab is, but if they're teasing it this early, it might be significant. Guilds and clans are planned for the future, though they won't be introduced right away. We're likely looking beyond Season 3 for that. The priority is still on expanding the core game with meaningful content updates, but long-term plans suggest that social features and team-based progression systems will come after the core game is further refined. PvP is still on the back burner. Put that out there because somebody always asks. So Season 3 will also bring improvements to the inversion reinforcement system and add more skill variation, giving players more options to customize their builds. Farming opportunities for void metal shards are being reviewed, with potential expansions to drop rates through special operations or void erosion missions, because who wants to fight Defiler thousands of times to get a stockpile? There's also damage issues related to fire rate limits, and that's going to be under investigation, with adjustments planned to ensure consistent damage scaling across different weapon types. So what's going to be happening on an ongoing basis? Well, from now on, expect monthly updates with fresh content. That includes new characters, weapons, balance adjustments, and more consistent bug fixes. So just to make sure this is a little bit more clear, because it's not. The way that they did it before was we were getting 2 major updates throughout a season. For example, in Season 2, Episode 1, we got the launch update, and then we got another run somewhere mid-January. Then everything in between was a bunch of weekly updates. So instead of doing it that way, they're going to cut it just to a monthly update. Whether the season is exactly 3 months or not, we're going to get bigger drops every single month. They didn't say anything about regular continuous weekly patches. At this stage, I bet they're still going to be there, but they're going to be more maintenance focused. So weapon and combat balancing is also being handled differently. They're forming a task force specifically to address balance issues, with plans to drop rebalancing patches more frequently. There's even talk of releasing full gameplay videos ahead of updates, so players can provide feedback before changes go live. If they actually follow through, this would be a major step in the right direction. So what's the big takeaway from all of this? Well, the devs got the message loud and clear. Rushed, half-baked updates don't cut it. Instead of forcing out a big patch every 3 months just to make a deadline, they're slowing down a little bit and prioritizing quality. That means updates won't drop until they're fully polished, and content will come in monthly chunks, so there's always something new to do. They did emphasize that a few times. They recognize that we feel like we don't have anything to do. And I think that's really important. They stated that they recognize that, and their plans moving forward are to curate cure that problem. So overall, Season 3 is shaping up to be the game's first real attempt at fixing endgame progression, and if they pull it off, the First Descendant might actually have long-term staying power. I think we all have our eyes on that. But as always, words are one thing, execution is another. We'll see if they can deliver. Thank you for hanging out with me. I'm Tuxedo Bandido, and if you found this video helpful, be sure to hit the like, subscribe, and turn on your notifications so you don't miss out on the good stuff I have coming for you. And if you like content like this, be sure to check out the video I have recommended for you right here. If you have anything you would like me to cover, be sure to let me know in the comments below. And thank you to all the channel members and donors who make things possible. Tux Nation wouldn't be the same without you.
When you buy or download anything for the First Descendant, be sure to use Tux's creator code to support the channel. Easy peasy.
Wait, did we just become best friends?